I want to thank all of you for joining us today. My name is Vicki Espinosa, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Our speaker or guest is Surekha Reddy, and our discussions today are going to be centered around the book, How Women Rise, and breaking some of the 12 habits that are holding you back from your next raise, promotion, or job. Surekha is going to walk you through her journey of breaking 2 of the habits that were holding her back from reaching her full potential. We'll go deeper into numbers 4 and 6 from the book. Number 4 is building rather than just leveraging, rather than leveraging relationships. And number 6 is putting your job before your career. So you can see those on the screen. I'll have those up and down a couple times through today's conversation so you can be reminded. And these are habits we want to break, ones that are holding us back. We'd also like to ask you a poll question before we get started. Your answer will be anonymous, but we're curious as to if these 2 resonate with you, or one does more than the other, or if maybe neither of them does. So there should be a poll up on your screen. So feel free to answer that poll and submit. And we'll ask you the same question at the end of the conversation to see if we've changed your mind about any of those habits. So today, Surekha is going to go into her personal experiences, how she overcame these habits to continue to rise within her former company, and then make the change to entrepreneur. She'll start by talking about habit number 4, which is just building rather than building and leveraging relationships. And she's going to open with a few stories to help you understand how she recognized she needed to change this habit and what she learned from the process. So with that, welcome, Surekha.
Thank you, Vicki, and thank you, Sasha, and the SIM Portland chapter community for giving me this opportunity today. First, I would like to express my gratitude to many who shaped me, kind of helping me to break these habits and bring me to the place where I am today. I think many of you who are in the audience may be there, and then if you are, my personal thank you to you all. With that, I think, thank you, Vicki. I think, why did I pick the habits 4 and 6? I just want to kind of talk about that briefly. Personally, through my entire journey, I pretty much resonated with every one of the habits in the book. But I think many of them was relatively easy for me to break those habits. But particularly this number 4 and 6, they are very hard for me to break. And that is why I chose them, and they're very connected, intertwined habits. The first one is building and leveraging the relationships. Actually, there are several of feelings I have to overcome to break the habit on building the network but not leveraging. And in fact, I had the trouble even building the network, by the way, because of these feelings of me. One is my lack of confidence, and then fear of rejection, and then kind of feeling the guilt. Oh, am I wasting somebody's time? So these are the general feelings of me I first need to overcome to start building my network. And then that is one aspect. Then how I leverage the relationship of what I built is yet another bigger challenge for me. And how I wanted to kind of, how over the time, what I kind of tried to replace this habit of me not being able to reach out to them for leveraging the relationship, I cultivated a new habit of helping others. By just offering my help to others, it just instantly built the mutual respect. And then from there, it was easy for me to leverage the relationship for help where I needed. Just want to just say a few things about that. The second one is I had this kind of a small exercise I developed over the time. And periodically I do this, kind of evaluating the relationship strengths from 1 to 10 scale, and kind of see where I am with my network. And then that kind of reveals you the weakened strength-based relationships. And then I put a action plan, and work on either increasing my engagement in the forum or have one-on-ones with individuals or offer my help. In whatever the form it is, I kind of take an action plan and then take the actions and improve my relationships. So that just kind of helped me to build and also balanced way to leverage the net relationship I built. I hope that helps, Vicki. By the way, first of all, I also want to thank this book and the author, Sally. And thank you, Vicki. I think you are the one introduced this book to us when I was in Intel for the senior women cohort, actually. Thank you for doing it. It's just a wonderful book. I highly recommend every one of you to read that book, and it's a great strategies she describes us to take a look at it.
So Surekha, when you built this list, you rated the people in your network, you gave them a 1 through 10 on how much you thought they could help you with your career. Then what types of actions did you then take for those people that had a high number, but you were worried you didn't have a close enough relationship to maybe ask them for a favor or ask them to recommend you for something? What did you do for those particular people?
Yeah, as I kind of was mentioning, everybody is different. Every role is different. In my current role, I'm a co-founder and chief product officer for a startup. Of course, my stakeholders are my co-founder, the team, the alliances, and then also the advisory role, and then customers, obviously, and then investors. So all of various types of roles. I think one of the things I realized that even though the relationship is very much needed improvement, I think the bottom line is it's always a mutual. Whatever the conversation we have is, it has to be mutually beneficial, right? So whether it is like sharing expertise, being a mentor to each other, or kind of seeking out a common connection, or reaching out to the partnerships, whatever it may be, I think at the end of the day, what I kind of see the value of authenticity comes in this kind of a networking, and building the networking was building the genuine value for the both sides. That's the foundation. So once you kind of go with that mindset of how I will be valuable to them and how they can be valuable to me, and that kind of really helped, kind of nourishing that weakened relationship to the levels that I would like to. But it took me a while to get to that realization. But once I understood it, that's my friend, I just know how to go and then have a conversation. And it can be through one-on-ones, it can be through helping them, offering them my hand, or it can be like just asking their mentorship to me, or I give my time to them. So whatever works out, but that many methods I used it all the time.
Okay, so it sounds like increasing touch points, how many times you talk to them, how often you're having conversations, but also really starting from a place of what can I do to assist or help them, whether it's sending them someone that might be good for them to meet, or someone to work for them, or something for them to read, all of those things that could assist them. And then when you had an ask, it became easier for you to ask because you felt like you had given them something throughout the relationship.
That's correct.
Okay.
Exactly. And then I just want to give one more small example, very relevant to this particular call. I'm very new to SimPDX community. And I met Sasha recently. And the first thing I said, Sasha, wherever you feel like, let me know how I can help. And she just said, oh, will you be, volunteering for this talk? I said, no problem. So that's how now I think by doing so, I learned a lot about Sasha, and then we have much more mutual respect now. And it's very easy for me to go ask for help if I need to. But I think that's just a very recent example I would like to share with this community.
And what types of benefits did you see from your founders, your customers, and your investors when you deployed this type of more integrated conversations and helping them, and then being comfortable asking them? What kinds of results did you get?
Oh, fantastic collaboration, right? I think, first of all, it just enhances significant amount of trust and mutual respect, and then great results. And I was able to really understand what their ask is from the customer standpoint of it. What is that they're looking from us, from the product feature standpoint of it, what works, what doesn't work for them, and then the investor standpoint, we're not quite there to go in front of the investors yet, but I'm trying to kind of gain mentorship from others who really helping us to really shape when to go, how to prepare ourselves to go in front of the investors. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of pointers, and I think in this community there are many actually gave me one-on-one time, to be honest. I think gave their advice, and very, very valuable for me to use that and then and kind of develop the company vision accordingly.
Excellent. Okay, let's shift a little bit. Can you share a time when you built a relationship with someone who helped you advance your career? What did that look like?
Yeah, I think to be honest, in my entire career, there are so many people played a very pivotal role to shape me up. For this particular one, because you asked a good example, this was in 2015 timeframe. And at the time, I really didn't understand actually what the networking aspect and leveraging the connections aspect. But rather, I was kind of focusing mainly curiosity of me. I was managing a huge team at the time and a huge scope as well. But I was curious about what is the leadership I need to develop to manage 3 times the size of the team, right? It's just a curiosity came into my head. So there was an opportunity at that time in the organization that our general manager of the organization decided to go on extended sabbatical and then retire. That gave many coverage opportunities across the organization. And then I just seeked out to my peer, who and me and him have very good relationship, and asked, like, would you like me to cover you? He was in Poland with a huge, like 300 plus employee base. And I was kind of asking with curiosity, and I'm just curious what it takes to run this big team. Can I cover you? Just because of the relationship that I had built is the only reason why he accepted it. He doesn't need my coverage. He has his team to cover him, but he said, yeah, absolutely, come and then no problem, right? So actually that enabled me to kind of play a pivotal role for the organization for that time, because it was, I remember, very crucial product and extremely quality issues and everything we had to address and then launch on time. So it kind of demonstrated how I could really go and establish the collaboration and also trust with his leadership team, and then kind of deliver that product on time. And by the way, at that time, I even learned Polish, kind of show my interest towards the language and the culture and all of that. So that actually was a great example of how my role helped the organization. But what actually happened as part of that result was my visibility was kind of expanded to many people, which I haven't even realized it. My manager's manager, corporate VP, and many others, they have seen that, how I was leading it was very visible to them. And surprisingly, 3 months later, we had this reward cycle, in the company, and they promoted me to the director role. And it was a huge surprise to me. I was not expecting that. And it was a very difficult move, by the way, in that company to become that next. It's one of the kind of a critic. I think, Vicki, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
From that previous kind of grade to that grade was very, very tricky. Without network and good connections, it's not possible. But I think unknowingly, I kind of experienced that. And then that made me to realize how important, building the network and then kind of asking for help. And that's my foundation, actually, for that particular.
I love that. So a lot of the learning came after you did the offer of support, right? Can I come cover your role while you're out? I'd like to learn what it's like to run a team that big, that kind of thing. So you were supporting that team with a leader while their leader was taking some much needed rest. I think that's excellent. I love when we pause to reflect and learn from these big experiences that happen. And then you were rewarded as well, but that was a surprise. So that's pretty exciting.
Very much.
My next question is, if you could go back in time, maybe pre-2015 or maybe 2013, and give yourself one piece of advice about building relationships, what would you say?
This is very good question. I think what I would pick one piece of advice to be for me is being vulnerable, showing my vulnerability to others. I think that was one of the, it took me a lot of time and then actually fear to overcome of being judged or rejected to even show my vulnerability to others, right? I wish I had developed this very early in my career, but it was a little later part of my career. But it was very important for every one of us to think about it. We don't have to be superhumans, right? We can be just humans. And we can definitely be that human and true ourselves and then just put it out there and then ask for help and be that, when you're even express your fear and just be genuine, right? So what that really helped me is later part of my career is I was able to start building very meaningful relationships and stronger relationships and also personal growth, significant personal growth. I kind of removed all my blind spots and then just that helped me really kind of focus on, I wouldn't take anything, kind of negative, the feedback coming my way. I was very open-minded and then helped me to build the trust and respect and it just the power of authenticity, actually. It helped me to build genuine friendships and mutual understanding. And anytime I can just kind of drop a note and they just kind of come and then, help me. I think that's exactly what I would go back and give a piece of advice to myself. It's perfectly okay to be vulnerable to others and then I'll show your side of that to others. And then that just helps much more genuine relationships with others.
Thank you for that. I agree wholeheartedly that vulnerability can be a game changer in building and leveraging relationships with others who can help us in our career. So great advice for our younger selves and maybe for us today if we're thinking, that I talk to people in my network about childcare and balance and all these other things, but I'm not really leveraging those relationships to help me in my career. And maybe I need to make that shift.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'm going to close out habit number 4 so that we have time to talk about habit number 6, which is putting your job before your career. And let's get into a little bit more of what that means. So Surekha, can you talk to us about some examples of where you are putting your loyalty, your team above your own career ambitions? So what does that look like? And what happened and what did you learn?
Yeah. I think before I get into your question, I think the reason the number 4 habit was heartbreak is, or even how to break is because of this habit. I'm very guilty of myself for staying with that and putting job for before then the career. Is the reason why many doesn't have time for building the network or nourishing the network and seeking out for help. That's why it's very interconnected, these 2 habits. And if you just if you want to take an effort, if you resonate with both the habits, first work on this one. Naturally, you will try to open up yourself for the other ones. Coming back to your question about the virtue, right? I think putting the loyalty of one's team, right? I truly, genuinely believe that loyalty to one's team or my team is not only the virtue. Actually, it is a strategic investment for both the individuals and the group and the organization, for everybody. It's actually a very beneficial result for all of them. And what I have done through my career, I think whomever, I think some of the audience today might have had in my reporting structure in the past. I do like to kind of take time and understand the overall organization objectives, and then boil them into what that means to as a leader for me and what that means to individuals in the organization, my team. And I always like to align their career goals with the opportunities and then empower them, right? And then team success is, teamwork is first of all is the way to go for bigger results. I think many of you resonate with that. But I think prioritizing team success and then celebrating accomplishments with them, and then whatever the output of that is very closely related to your career and your success. I think it's all very kind of connected. We kind of have this misunderstanding that, oh, it's your career, it's my career, but it's all like, we all together work. And the leader's career is quite dependent on team success. And I think so. I kind of realized that very early on, and then I fostered the mutual respect and trust in the organization and create the circle of influence, and then just respect all of us together and help myself.
I like that. I think it is important, we're all together for so many years, right? I finished up a 31-year career. So you are together a lot. And in fact, sometimes you're together with them more than you are with your own family members, right? My kids are both younger than my career. So that's something that to think about, working together to help each other develop and grow. So as you looked at some of the members of your team, how did you decide or think about supporting them to take on greater responsibility and develop them as managers to free up your bandwidth? What process did you go through, or what did you think about when it came to you, right? You're trying to grow your leadership. How did you do that and get the work done?
Yeah. I think this is actually a very good question, Vicki. Thanks for asking. I think this particular habit, the premise for this habit is lack of delegation. Okay, if you can think about it, right? You're really good at doing the job and you really want to stick to that, right? You don't look what your career looks like. So I think I have met many people, and I was myself, I had that difficulty myself too, right? So the delegation aspect is what I think we're talking about as part of this question. I would like to address that way. As I think to connect also from my previous answer, I take time with my team and spend a good amount of career conversation, and then understand what motivates them, what their goals. And then, as I was kind of mentioning, aligning the opportunities with them, and then making them to take the opportunities to shape themselves and gain the leadership skills, enabled me and my previous jobs, and currently we have a small team, but when I was in previous company, huge teams I led, where it allowed me to really delegate effectively, and then so I can focus on the strategic objectives of the organization. Otherwise, I'm too busy managing the team and the work, and 80% of my time was on that, and very little I was kind of spending. So by kind of mapping that and then creating the opportunities to the team, it helped a lot. And actually, I want to share this one example that happened this year. My dad was very sick in India. One day, I just got the call that he's on ventilator. And he was in India and admitted to the hospital. I had to drop everything, sent a note to the team, and then my manager, and then left. Said I'll dial back in when I can. Nothing stopped because I'm out. The team was very self-efficient, self-organized, and they were even sending me, notes of like, take care of yourself, everything is under control here. Even otherwise, I was kind of not even responding to anything. They were giving me proactive updates, how things are evolving, how things are shaping up, and they're just giving an FYI for me, for your information type of notes, than me involving and calling them. So that's the kind of environment you would really develop where your absence doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're ignored, by the way. That's a concern many have, right? By delegation that, that means what value you're adding? your value is indeed you are meant to be developing that leaders, and the more capable team you build, the more capable work comes your way as a leader, so that you can take on bigger roles, bigger scope, and better, I think, influential results to the company. It's bottom
I
line.
love that. I think that was some early advice I got in my career was don't make yourself indispensable. Try to make yourself redundant, because if you're able to do that, then you're able to move on to the next thing. Otherwise, they won't let you move because you're the only person who can do the thing, whatever it is, right? You want to make sure you're training, teaching, and growing someone else into that role so that you can move on. So, a lot of people hold on to their role with iron fists and don't want to let go, when in reality, that's what's holding them back.
Correct.
Right. So excellent. So tell me about some other lessons you learned about the importance of investing in your career. So actually spending time thinking about your career journey going forward, not just the job you're doing today, but that next 10 years, next 20 years, and thinking about it. So what lessons did you learn?
Yeah, there are plenty of them actually. I think one aha moment I had in my career was, we think about and talk about organization strategy, company strategy, but I think you need to be strategic about your career too, right? You have to have your own strategy for your career. That's just an aha moment I had during my journey of the career. And let me give you a little bit more specifics. What was that about, right? And there was a time I was kind of watching some videos on career development and things like that. There was a person I'm really, really interested to watch her video. She's very influential. Her name is Carla Harris. She was managing director of Morgan and Stanley at the time. She specifically talked about performance currency and networking currency. It just made, wow. It's just like the idea was performance. If there is a lot of leadership team, by the way, in the call, I know that they're very huge, many years of leadership in this call. But what they're not here because without performance, right? It's a performance currency is that you deliver, you take the responsibility, and you deliver high quality work. Now you established a nice equality statement on you, like a kind of a tag. Oh, she performs, she delivers. That's the performance currency. And then after some time, the value for that diminishes, right? You're like expected to perform. There is no additional value it brings. Then how are you going to progress in your career, right? So the networking currency is the one is mandatory, and you have to really build the connections and with others and expand your network and foster the trust with them. That is the one who opens the doors and opportunities for you. And I think that's actually very important. I hope some of you can watch, just Google about Carla Harris and watch the video. Videos, she has plenty of videos on that topic, and it is just very interesting to understand that. And then from that point, I kind of start understanding what it makes sense for me to build the relationships with the leaders, senior leaders in the organization, and then work understanding their priorities and organization priorities, and then figure out how I can help them, right? So that's one biggest career lessons I had, or my journey actually taught me. But again, one other piece of key element in the career advancement is you have to be lifelong learner.
Right.
The moment you are in the comfort zone, that means you're not learning. So I don't like to be in comfort zone. My family witnesses this all the time. I get bored really quickly if I'm in comfort zone. I know how to kind of see that you have to be a lifelong learner. What that gives you is you picking up for signing up for new challenges, and then that gives you new experiences. Is the journey really shape you up, right? That's another thing. Another element I think you need to add is like a well-balanced work-life balance, right? I think you cannot just undermine one over the other, or it's just going to bring you unhappiness, which is not going to take you anywhere. So you have to really balance your health, your well-being, your sleep, your exercise, your meditation, taking care of your family, and helping community. It has to be balanced. If you do that, I think everything fall in place. So that's my learnings, a lot of learnings throughout my career. And then I try to be always, give that balanced approach.
I like that idea that performance currency only gets you so far, right? You're doing your job, you're doing it well, you're performing, but what's going to take you to the next level? So I want to ask you, any tips for communicating your ambitions to your manager, to your second level, to others who can help you get to the next level?
Yeah, this is another classic great question, right? I think a lot of us, we use one-on-one time on getting the business done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, as you really become seniors, you often don't even meet with your manager. That's actually really not a good thing. I am very proactive on that aspect. I like to have regular conversations with my management, my leadership team, and then my team, who is in my reporting structure both ways. I'm very proactive. I have regular conversations. I'm open for feedback. I actively sought out for new challenges and opportunities that I can tell you why I'm going behind the skills and how I bring that skills to my current role. And I mentioned to you, stepping out of comfort zone is my nature. But I want to give you this one very good, mentorship advice I received in my career was in the corporation I worked in previously before to my current role. There is always jobs online. You can apply for next career job if you want to. But after you reach certain kind of a seniority in the company, there is no such applying for job anymore. She just opened my eyes like, what do you mean by that? No, I think because there's no such thing. You have to create the scope for yourself. And imagine the complexity involved in it, right? How do you create a scope for yourself? That means you have to work with your manager, his peers, his manager. As the scope is bigger, you have to really, involve so many stakeholders to create the scope. And then they trust you to assign the scope to you. It's a lot of work need to be done, but it appears very complex. But if you do that, who is the happiest person?
You've created your own job, right?
Yeah. Do you have any problem showing up to the work with that kind of you want the scope that you like to work on? That's actually, I'm actually very thankful to my mentor who offered me that suggestion. Surekha, you're wasting your time. Just go work on this. And actually, it is genuinely true. Many people don't know that. Many, it's whether a woman or man, maybe we are a little bit, kind of slower on that angle of working. It just takes a lot of work. But actually, what I realized another factor is actually your role. The company pays you for that. Actually, you need that's expected behavior, the expected outcome of you. And many of us doesn't realize that, sadly. So yeah, I work with that's another thing I just want to share with my example. So that really helped me to take control on my own professional journey myself and achieve my long-term goals. But I'm very proactive. Being proactive.
And you created your career in these last few steps, right? You're no longer following the standard, right? You do this, then you do that, then you do this, or these are the jobs you apply for. There's no more job or career ladder, right, for you to follow. It's creating one that suits you and uses your skills to the best of your ability. So I think that's excellent. I know my last 2 or 3 assignments before I retired, I created those jobs. Those jobs were not posted anywhere. They were ones that I went and talked to people and they hired me into them. So they have to go create a requisition because nothing existed, right, for what I wanted to do. But when we're higher up in the company, we can see the problems and we can suggest solutions, and we are the solution, right, to the problem.
Absolutely.
Excellent conversation. Thank you for covering that. I want to circle back to number 4. There's a good question in the chat, which is, are you still intentional, or has it become more natural for you to ask things from people in your network? Do you still have to think about it?
Yeah, it's actually very natural now to me. I don't need to really, because it's natural for me to offer help. I don't blink. I think when I meet with people, I just say like, hey, let me know how I can help. I leave, count me in if you need any help, is one of the standard offerings of me. And then I really don't, if I know exactly whom to reach, how to reach, what to ask. And it's very natural to me now. I don't struggle anymore.
Okay, so it's become more comfortable. So it just takes some practice, which, right?
Significant.
And then that vulnerability you spoke to and overcoming our fear, really thinking about what is best for the work, for the company, for the people on our team, right? So excellent. You all are encouraged to write any questions you have for Surekha into the chat. I want to thank her very much for sharing all of these ideas with us. I'd also like to see if your opinion has changed about the 2 habits we discussed today. So the poll's going to come back up in a couple seconds, and let us know if your answer has changed. So, and then we also want to know if you'll be joining us again in January. So I will be back with another speaker, and we will be covering a different topic, but we'd be excited to see you on January 17th, 10 minutes after lunchtime. So thank you for that. The only other thing, Surekha, as you continue your journey, are you having any mentoring conversations with people who aren't in your company? Is that something that you do? Do you help out people that maybe are interested in your journey or the work that you have done or are doing? Are you open to talking to people?
Absolutely. And that's actually my priority. And the reason I'm doing this session is also for that reason. There are so many help me to reach where I am, and this is my giving back. And I'm truly, genuinely prioritize give back type of reach out that comes to me as a number 1 priority. And I do a lot of that already in community. And absolutely, there are many mentorship relationships I have. And this is my priority, and I always prioritize that.
I love that. Another question. So we have some allies on the phone call today, people that are helping out women in their careers. Do you have any advice or ideas for those allies to help them help others break some of these habits?
Absolutely. I think in my career, if I had kind of look into all the people who impacted me genuinely, a lot of women did very good impact on my career, right? Actually, one of the things that my advice to all of the allies is like, even though you think that it's just a fraction of time you're spending and helping them, you never know what impact they have with that little help and hand you're giving to them. And it happened to me. There was one time a VP was just sending a text to another VP about something I'm looking into, gave me 5 years of career journey opportunity. It is just like a fraction of a second of somebody's time spending on helping me has a profound impact on me. And she might have forgotten about that, but I will never forget about that in my entire life, right? So these are the kinds of profound impacts you will have on helping others. A lot of the women has a lot of fears, anxieties. They don't take that first step. If they take the help, raising their hand for help means it's already huge step they're taking forward, and just make a bit of a time and help them out. And that takes all for us.
I think one of the things that I've always offered is sometimes you're in these big meetings and there's someone who has something interesting to say, but they don't know how to break in. They don't know how to make space for their question or their feedback or whatever it is they want to share. And so I think allies can make space for the people that they are mentoring, right? Surekha, I know you have something to say on this topic. Could you chime in here, right? Pulling them into the conversation, using your power status, etc. Or maybe you're just an extrovert and it's easy for you. So doing that is really well deserved and needed for those particular people that you're mentoring, right? Making space for them and making sure everything is there.
And then it can be that gives you a very good inclusive approach, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Making sure that they're speaking and being heard. That's excellent. So I don't see any other questions, but some really nice comments, Surekha, inspiring, eye-opening. So that's great. If there's anybody else who has ideas for helping people break out of these habits, let us know. We would love to hear if you have something that maybe has worked for you. If you'd like to share, feel free to type that into the chat as well. I think for me, the biggest one, number 4, that leveraging relationships, is you don't need to see it as a separate activity. You can enroll it into your daily work. It's part of what you need to do in order for your team to be successful, for you to be successful, for the work to get done. And if you can see that leverage piece as a part of the work, it doesn't feel as burdensome, right? It doesn't feel as new and different and scary. It just becomes part of what you do in order to assure the success of your team or of yourself, which is very helpful.
Yeah, I think well said. Yeah, that's all it is about.
Yeah.
Break these habits with giving, replacing that with good habits.
Yeah, that's right. That's great. Surekha, anything else you'd like to share before we close up?
Yeah, one other thing I really want to share with the team is taking risks. So career advancement comes only with taking risks. That's one other area a lot of us are very shy of, right? I think that's very directly connected with breaking out of comfort zone as well, right? But I think I took a lot of risks in my career by examples you might have witnessed already. By far, the most biggest risk I have taken is this entrepreneurial journey right now. I'm a co-founder and I'm a chief product officer of an executive role. Taking to this company of AI startup is by far the most significant risk I took. And it's just, although it was a big risk, I know there is a lot of challenges that comes with it, but also rewards along the way. But the passion for me about innovating on top of the innovation that's coming in the ecosystem, and then also contributing to the society in a much more social way and economic growth way, really, really kind of motivating me to kind of, take that step up and do that next move, right? So without that, I think it's very hard to really kind of embrace that career success or moving next steps in your career. So I personally and genuinely, firmly believe taking risks is very crucial for achieving your personal growth, your career success, and finally to live the fulfilling life, both in personal side and career side, and then bringing the balance to you. So I encourage you all to take that next step.
One of the things I share often with my coaching clients is if you are able to build enough excitement about something new, you'll be able to overwhelm your fear of the unknown, right? Because that's what we're really trying to do, is bring in that excitement so that we can push down the fear and move forward. So it's always good to have a plan. It's always good to talk to others, but you're not going to take that big step until you really drum up the excitement for what it is you're going to do next. So fantastic. With that, I'm going to say thank you to everyone. And I'm going to turn us over to Sasha. She's going to share what's coming up next.
Yeah. Before Sasha, you pick it up, I just want to personally thank you, Sasha, for giving me the opportunity. And thank you, Vicki. I know you from our past lives. And thank you to the whole community one more time here, the same community. You have a great leadership team here.
Thank you.
So Our pleasure. What a great conversation. Thank you, ladies, both of you. And Vicki did not share her background the way that she should have, which is she's been teaching this for quite some time. So super grateful that she's been willing to step into the facilitation spot as we go through our theme of how women rise. Hopefully you can all see my screen related to what's next. This Sim Women is an extension of the Sim PDX chapter. We do have our standing chapter meetings, and we are the largest nonprofit that basically focuses on technology leaders. So would love to see a lot of members on here, would love to have you participate. Sim Women is an extension of that organization where we're really trying to work on diversity, diversifying our membership, and then creating a community around those leaders for folks. So we have our chapter meeting coming up on January 10th. Our next Sim Women lunch series, which will be remote, will be featuring Tracy Eastive, who's the director of GRC from the Standard. So Tracy is very active in the community. I'm sure many of you probably already know her. She's going to be picking a habit or two, like you saw here, of ones that we have not covered, and incorporate those into her journey. And then we do have a book club. So the last two events are open to non-members. Would love to have you participate in a way that makes sense for you in our community. So on that note, happy holidays. Thank you, ladies, for a fabulous program. Really appreciate your commitment to community. And I hope that all of those that joined got something out of this and found a takeaway. So take care and enjoy your holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy your break.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Surekha. Bye, everyone.